शाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवासवाणी देवी दयिताय कृपातये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान नामिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाद्य श्री रूपानुभक्तिदा श्री गौरकरुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्ते वीरकारिणे रूपानुगविरुद्धाः सिद्धान्तप्रहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसाम्भूते पदाम्बुजाय ते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगाधराय ते गौरभूमि स्वं निर्देशसज्जनप्रियः वैष्णवः सार्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदनाय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरविषे नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते मत्सर्वस्य पराङ्गोचो राधामोहनं गिरिराजवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमादं श्रीमद्रत्नाकर सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद्राधा श्रीरघुवृन्दयो श्रीमन्रसरसानन्दी वंशीवरकटकस्तकः कश्यपेणोस्मरे गोपी गोपीनाथ श्रीकृष्णः भक्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे 18 feet. So today we are going to discuss a very wonderful set of shlokas which are very essential for cultivating the internal mood for Krishna consciousness, and especially the mood of a preacher. So this is prayers of Prahlad Maharaj from the 5th canto. In the 5th canto there is a section of different residents of Jambudvip. The planetary system is being described. So universal structure is being described in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in that, when it is description about the Jambudvip plants, so in that there are different tracts of land is there. So how many different tracts of land is there in the Jambudvip? Different tracts of land is there on Jambudvip. 7, 8. There are how many dvipas are there? So there are 7 dvipas and 9 varshas in Jambudvip. So we are in Bharatvarsha. So like that. So one time, during initiation, the spiritual master asked, "What will you follow?" So then he told that one devotee told that I'll chant 4 rounds and follow 16 principles. So like that it happened now. There are 9 dvipas and 7 varshas. So it is reverse actually. There are 7 dvipas are there and there are 9 varshas are there. So all of these 9 varshas So there are different residents are there, and in these residents, like in all of these places, there is a prominent devotee of the Lord is residing over there, and then people, rest of them actually they follow this prominent devotee. And here we are going to study about this particular aspect of Prahlad Maharaj's prayer. So this is in Harivarsha. So one shloka before what is being displayed here, I am just reading the translation. Shukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, Lord Nrsimhadev resides in the tract of land known as Harivarsha. In the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I shall describe to you how Prahlad Maharaj caused Lord to assume the form of Lord Nrsimhadev. Prahlad Maharaj, the topmost devotee of the Lord, is a reservoir of all good qualities, of great personalities. His character and activities have delivered all the fallen members of his divine family. Lord Nrsimhadev is very dear to this exalted personality. Thus, Prahlad Maharaj, along with his servants and all the denizens of Harivarsha, worship Lord Nrsimhadev by chanting the following mantras. So here in this section, what's happening is like different residents of Jambudvip, or different residents of different varshas of Jambudvip are put forward, and who's the deity who's being worshipped, and who's the prominent devotee who's worshipping, and their prayers. How do they worship? What is the mood in which they worship? So that is the particular thing that is mentioned. So just a side topic, Bharat Varsha, any guess? In Hari Varsha, Lord Nrsimhadev is worshipped. So Bharat Varsha, who's worshipped and who's worshipping that Lord? Any idea? Just, I know like it's a difficult question, like in Bhakti Vaibhav also, like last week some questions came on the next unit which has already been taught to us, but that was not in the syllabus. So we all struggled hard to write, some session that we just heard. So I know this is like we might have read long before, but still as a curiosity, like Bharat Varsha, we're living in Bharat Varsha, so like which is the deity, prominent deity that is worshipped, and what is the mood in which the deity is worshipped? Any guess? Wild guess? Okay. Narayana. Ambrish Maharaj worshipped Krishna. Okay. It's a little unusual answer, so you can think a little out of the box.
Okay, so then Varahadev.
Varahadev, okay. Who else? Lord Shiva, somebody told her. No, only Vishnu forms. So it is in Bharata Varsha, Naranarayan Rishi is the worshipable deity and Narad Muni is worshipping. And the significance of this is Bharata Varsha is a land meant for tapasya. Here nobody can enjoy it. Everybody has to do tapasya only. So this land is specially designed for tapasya. So the Bharata Varsha is specially designed for tapasya, for performing austerities and going back to the spiritual world. So that is why amongst all the Varshas, if you see, even in Jambudvip, all the Varshas, if you see, like all of them are super opulent, and everybody are living in so much of opulence. So only place in the whole of the 14 planetary system, which is very, very apt for doing tapasya and austerity, is the Bharat Varsha. Apart from the Tapaloka and higher planetary systems are there, but then the people in general, like the path for going back to the spiritual world is open from this Bharata Varsha because it's very conducive. It's very, very conducive. And people with such kind of faith and such kind of sukruti actually get posted in Bharata Varsha. So that is why preaching becomes so nice in Bharata Varsha. So, okay, so the next, this one, what is mentioned here in this, the prayers that we are going to discuss now. So it is very nice to memorize these shlokas. So all of like 4 or 5 prayers we are going to see. So you can make a note of this. It's easy number to note also. 5, 18, 8. 5, 18, 8. So that's the starting shloka. So we will try to chant this shloka. It is in a particular meter. How many of you know this shloka chanting? Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya. So it's a nice meter. So I will chant, you can repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya.
tejase
Namaste Tejase
Avirbhava Vajranaka Vajradamstra Karmashayan Randaya Tamograsa Om Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuvishka Om Shrom. So this is a very nice mantra. So we can teach to people also. But when we are teaching to common people, we should not tell the meaning. If they know the meaning, they will not chant. So let's try to read the meaning here. Prahlad Maharaj is offering this prayer. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Nrsimhadev, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possess nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Right? So it's a very amazing shloka. So the focus point that we are trying to learn in this set of shlokas is how a devotee manifests very, very nice, wonderful qualities, and how the Lord is attracted to these qualities. You know, the Lord is not attracted to the quantum of service that we do. The Lord is not attracted to any of the externals. The Lord and the spiritual master is actually seen for how wonderful Vaishnava qualities this devotee is actually developing. So that is what the Lord is looking for, and that is what actually attracts the Lord, and that's what attracts everybody else also. Right? So the Vaishnava qualities is what attracts. In fact, all other qualities, if somebody has a very good learning, and if somebody is very skillful in doing some service, and all other aspects may be there, but if the Vaishnava qualities are not there, so even a devotee may be attractive in the beginning, like he may give a very wonderful class and everybody may get attracted. But when the quality starts manifesting, so that's when a person starts becoming repulsive. So that's when it becomes very challenging. So the real important thing that actually attracts the Lord and the devotees and even the common people is what is the qualities, Vaishnava qualities. And of course, in the practicing state, we may not have all the qualities nicely manifest. We may be kacha, and we may be a little rough in different aspects. So that's the Lord is actually looking at that, as in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord actually mentions. So when a devotee is trying to come towards me, and he's getting up and falling down and getting up and falling down, and he's trying his hard, trying his best. It is like a small kid trying to walk, and Lord takes pleasure in it, right? And then if a big kid also, or grown-up boy also walks like that, then Lord will take tension. Why after so much time also he's not developing the Vaishnava etiquette? So this is one aspect. And then how to be equipoised in material situations, like sometimes very bad situation happens, sometimes little good situation happens. So how not to be distracted and not to be affected by these things, and be equipoised in this. So when I'm speaking this, we are also going through a little bit of crisis. Our Krishna Karnamurti Prabhu's father, all of you know the information. So we should take this opportunity to pray for the soul of his father, and we wish that he has a very peaceful parting away with the body. And it's a very difficult and very it's a very difficult situation to face, and this is the reality of life. And sooner or later, all of us also have to face this particular situation. So the leadership, this one, what we are going through is, when this thing happens, how many devotees actually are feeling for us, and how many devotees are actually praying for us. So that actually matters a lot. So how much our service we might have done, until unless devotees pray for us, devotees actually shower their mercy upon us, so we are not going to have any standing in front of the Lord. So considering the very amazing service of Krishna Karnamurti Prabhu and his family, so let's take this opportunity to pray once to the Lord for well-being of his father. Let's try to chant the Hare Krishna mantra with full prayer. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. So, yeah. So now we will try to analyze this particular shloka. Here we see the prayer that Prahlad Maharaj is going to have. Just for the sake of information, we'll go to all the translations. We will read next 3-4 shlokas, and then we'll come back to this. So the next shloka is a very nice shloka. Svashasti Vishwashti Kalaprasidatam Vyayam Shivam Mitodhu Manaschavatram Vajata Vadoksaje Aveshata Namatira. So may there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga. And by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. So now, the previous shloka and this shloka, what is the difference that we are seeing? What is the primary objective of the previous prayer? And what is the primary objective of this prayer?
Obstacles to practice Bhakti, the fruitive activities should be
That is so whose fruitive activity? Somebody else's? Our own fruitive activity. So, and then the next shloka is? For others. Right? So, one is the self-practice and preaching to others. Right? So, the first shloka was more in the tone of, like, I am having so much of demon-like desires in my heart. So, Lord, please save me and please remove these demon-like desires from my heart. And this shloka is talking about, no, Lord, please save all other living entities also. Right? So now, what is the priority? Which one comes first? First ours comes first. And then, Janma Sarthaka Kari,
we can taste the nectar, only we can distribute others.
Yeah, that's also a very nice point. Only if we taste the nectar, then we can distribute. So now, the commodity that we are trying to sell is Krishna Bhakti, Krishna and Krishna's holy name. So this is the commodity that we are trying to reach it to other people. And for that, most important thing is to have the commodity ourselves. So Vaishashi Prabhu says, like, for key thing, the first most important thing for book distribution is what? Books. Have books. You should have books, then only you can distribute. So that, like that, first most important thing for preaching is we should have Krishna, so then only we can give Krishna to others. It is a very important principle. So anyway, this is what I wanted to emphasize. So we will go back to the previous shloka. So now we will read the translation. Okay, we will just analyze this translation a little bit. So here, the Lord has been glorified as the source of all power, and He possesses nails, which is like thunderbolts and things like that. And the power of this personality is being seen. Prahlad Maharaj has a first-hand experience of the power of this personality, and he is invoking such a personality, such very powerful personality, for something like to remove the anarthas in the heart. It's a small work it is. Why to invoke such a great personality with so much of power to remove anarthas of a very small living entity? Correct, no? Yeah, so that's the next statement that he's telling. Kindly vanquish our demon-like desires. So you killed Hiranyakashipu? No, that's not a great thing. You show, killing my demonic desires, please show your power in that way. So that's a very nice way of putting it, saying that, understanding. One time I had mentioned, I had asked a question to, I still have a doubt. Whom did I ask? So it's always a confusion. So then I asked Prabhuji, I'm trying to practice devotional service, but then so much of obnoxious thoughts that actually revolve in the mind is sometimes it's so disgusting. What kind of a devotee I am. I'm trying to practice devotional service, but mind is filled with so much of material thoughts, or even why does even the thoughts cross the mind? So I understand it is wrong, but it is nevertheless it is crossing my mind. So why it is happening? So then he told one important thing. So first step of advancement in Krishna consciousness is to understand we are different from the mind. somehow you are able to understand that thing, like that he is just encouraging me. So, like, still, kachara to hai, like, the rubbish is there in the head. So then he was mentioning that, like, first of all, to understand that we are different from the mind, and the mind is conditioned for a long period of time, material nature, and the mind is going to function in this particular way. First, we become devotee, we become convinced of the philosophy, and then the mind takes many, many years or sometimes lifetimes to become devotee. So when the mind becomes devotee, then we actually become complete devotee. So that time we are still having struggle. So it's like husband and wife staying in the same home. The husband or wife becomes devotee, and the other partner has not become devotee. So the house is every day is Kurukshetra, so like that. So like that happens within our body. We become devotee, and our partner, the mind, it is not still a devotee. So we have to drag the mind to do devotional service and things like that. So now this person is very, very strong. And any this one example that is given or comparison that is given about the mind in Bhagavad Gita.
I can control the wind, but I cannot.
Shloka? Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramada bhagavat dridam, right? So it's pramada means like it is very, very obstinate, and bhagavat is very, very strong, and dridam, it's like it just doesn't budge from its opinion. It's very. What is the very strong opinion of the mind? Sense gratification. The most unshakable opinion of the mind is the fickleness. Keep on shaking. So that is the most unshakable opinion of the mind. So it will not allow us to be in one thing for constantly, especially the mind that is affected by the lower modes of passion and ignorance. It will always keeps changing. This thing, that thing, this thing, that thing, like keep always keeps changing, and it will not allow us to be at peace, right? So it will not allow us to function in a peaceful way. So now here, Prahlad Maharaj is actually praying the demon-like desires. So now appreciating that we are different from the mind is one thing, and appreciating the strength of the mind is the next level of advancement. So how difficult is this opponent that we are trying to deal with? So it is so very powerful an opponent that we are trying to deal with, and actually he can be made friend of, like that also Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So now when we appreciate this, then this prayer will make sense to us. So until and unless all these things are, we appreciate this fact that the mind is our enemy, and the mind is very, very obstinate and strong, and he is as good as Hiranyakashipu, so powerful an opponent, right? So when we understand this, then we will be able to make this prayer with proper feeling, right? So otherwise, people are saying mind is very difficult. I don't think so. My mind is like I can control my mind. Sometimes he goes out of way, but then I can control my mind. So, but then in many cases he is my friend also. So many ways he is actually helping me. Like when I want to enjoy a nice biryani, he actually helps me. When I want to relish ice cream, he actually helps me. In so many ways he helps me. Like later on, sometimes indigestion happens and things like that, but it's okay. So, but then this one is like still we have not estimated the strength of the enemy. First of all, we have not identified the enemy as an enemy. So that is the first problem. And second problem is we have not estimated the strength of the enemy. So when we estimate the strength, and when we are like, if somebody comes and some gundas come and they beat us and things like that, we can clearly estimate the strength. It's like, yeah, these people are, they are thugs, and they can actually harm us. And we will feel that fear, and all those things will come, and naturally we'll call out for help and things like that. So here, what Prahlad Maharaj and what pure devotees actually doing is that they are relishing Krishna consciousness, and they are able to see these activities of the mind is so obnoxious. And if it actually contaminates our this one, and if we lose the sight of Krishna, and if we lose the experience of Krishna, that's a big disaster, right? So they actually pray so intensely, for this particular thing. So these aspects, like now, when we understand these aspects, so then we perform sadhana in that direction. So sadhana is what? What is generally a sadhana? Like if for a child who wants to learn writing, so what is the sadhana that the child has to do? Start to write. And now our sadhana is like not just the externals of chanting, reading, and hearing. Our sadhana is what? Now like one of the goals that we want to achieve, as we were discussing now, is that understanding the mind is our enemy. So if we have not achieved that goal, so then we have to make this as a practice. No, we have to systematically study what is actually good for me and what is not good for me, and what this mind is doing. Is it encouraging me towards the direction where it is good for me, or it is encouraging me towards the direction where it is bad for me? So when we make this analysis, so then we get the goal clear, and then we make a sadhana towards it. No, this one. So to achieve that goal, we make a sadhana. So when we read the books, so now what is the goal? It is there in the mind. So if we don't have this goal, self-analysis is not there, then the goal will be, now I'll read and see who all are at fault. No? Like all these people, I'll get to know who are all at fault, and this is the chance I can go and correct them, catch them and correct them and things like that. Right? So then that will become the goal. So until unless we identify a goal to advance ourselves, no, we will identify a goal to fall down. So like that is the problem. So we have to identify this goal. So if this goal is there in the mind, then when we are reading, what will happen? Oh, see, Prahlad Maharaj is so nicely praying that he has identified that the mind is mind is a demon, and then mind is such a powerful demon, and he's actually praying to the Lord. And naturally, I am not feeling this. So then, what is the sadhana that I do? I go and pray in front of the Lord. When will I become a devotee like this? No, when will I find fault in myself? And when will I pray to the Lord that remove these faults and make me a nice devotee? Right? So I'm not even able to find the fault in myself. So what kind of a devotee I am? Right? So this is the application of sadhana. Right? So this is how we perform our sadhana. So then, like the reading becomes meaningful. Otherwise, when we are reading, we don't have any personal goals to achieve. So we'll just read through and same thing. What Prabhupada is also telling the same thing. Krishna is also telling the same thing. And we will not be able to make any sense of the whole thing. Right? So when we identify the goal, then the sadhana makes it has some value. Right? All of us know, like when the exam comes closer, so our study will become intensified. So how we actually draw this examination in our own lives. So how we have to draw this examination every day. So then the sadhana becomes more intense. So I have to become like this. We should not keep even very when will I get Krishna Prem? That's like very far off. Let's keep that aside. So first of all, let me find some fault in me. Like today's lesson is not that I want to find all fault in myself. Today's whole goal is let me find one fault in myself. That is sufficient. And let me glorify one devotee. That is sufficient. Even that achieved is very great thing achieved actually. So like that, a goal that is little ahead of us, which we can achieve, and in the path of attaining Krishna Prem. So we should identify a goal and we should try to apply this process. And then when we read, so we will see that how Srimad Bhagavatam, how Bhagavad Gita, they are exclusively written for ourselves only. So how nicely the sadhana practices will emerge from our reading. We will be able to see that. So this particular thing we see that what is the solution that Prahlad Maharaj is asking? So Lord, please remove this desire. It's not like that. Lord, please come and reside in my heart. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance. So that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. So here is a nice philosophy also is there. So Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhaka. So if ignorance has to be gone, so then there is only one way. Krishna has to be manifest. There is no other way. Krishna, you be there wherever you are. Just remove this ignorance. It's not possible. Light has to come. Then only darkness will go. I don't want light and darkness should go. It will not happen. So we have to appeal to the Lord to be present in our heart, to be manifest in our heart, and to destroy the ignorance. Right?
Is it on the mind part or soul part? So we are talking.
Soul is completely faultless. Soul is completely faultless. Soul is a pure entity that becomes contaminated by the coverings of the material this world. So only fault of the soul is that what it likes, what it means to be away from the Lord. I want to experience. That's the only part of the living entity. So when he goes away, what happens? He comes under the shelter of three modes of material nature, and Srila Prabhupada often explains, it is like an infection. If there is coronavirus is there, you go there, you are helpless, you will get infected by it. So in the same way, you turn your face away from Krishna, three modes of nature is there, you will get infected by one of the modes or a combination of the modes. And you don't have a choice. You have to become infected by them. Right? So like that you will become infected and all these things actually comes in. And when you get infected, so you get a particular kind of a thought process, you perform an action, and through that action you get some more desires, so samskaras get built, right? So we get caught up in the samskaras. So that is why the acharyas actually say that even Srila Prabhupada quotes Jesus saying that don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. Because sinner is actually a pure living entity. So the sin, he has got into the sin, he got into the culture of sin because of the effect of the three modes of nature, and then performing some action and getting some reaction, and the samskaras keep getting built, and then he becomes helpless. He keeps doing that particular way of action only. Right? So like that.
Finally, one, so morning, I want to take note of this. This is the mind is always asleep. So we find the point and working on it means
praying to the Lord. So how do we work on it? How do we actually be saved? So only entity, only personality who can save us is Krishna. Krishna means it includes the spiritual master, the Vaishnavas. So Krishna is all encompassing of all these entities. So we pray to Krishna that please help me to come out of this. Right? We do certain things practically. So, but then the more practical thing is to pray to Krishna. So that's the most practical thing, and that is our sadhana. So we should try to do that thing. Pray to Krishna that I am stuck in this particular person, and it is because of your material nature. And material nature, Maya Dakshayana Prakriti Suyate Sucharacharam. You are the master of the material nature. How can I do anything? No, I am not the controller of the material nature, right? So you are the controller of the material nature, and I am caught up within your material nature, and I am doing this kind of activities by the influence of your material nature. Please liberate me from this clutches. If you desire, if you bless me, I can be out of this thing. And I want to be away from all these things. I want to be free from all this ignorance, the culture of materialism, and I want to come to Krishna consciousness. For what purpose? Because in that state, I can offer service to you which is pleasurable to you. I can think of your welfare. So in this conditioned state, I am only thinking of my welfare. I am only thinking of my pleasure. Right? And this is because of the influence of three modes of nature. And you are the controller of modes of nature. Please liberate me from this. Right? So when we pray, when we identify a particular thing and when we pray for that, so then the Lord actually takes us out of it. So that's how we come out of this.
When we talk about this, when ourselves is a devotee and mind is a God, then we are facing so many problems in that case. So what is we are referring to is here is
soul.
Soul means, as you said, soul is like is a tool, right? So we are referring to the embodied soul in this body, or only the soul we are referring?
See, embodied soul in this body, then he gets a little awakening. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, so the living entity gets a little awakening, understanding that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am part and parcel of Krishna, I must engage in Krishna's service. So we have become a devotee in the beginning stage. So, like devotee means we should not wrongly understand. Like student, who is a student? LKG person also is a student, PhD person also is a student. Devotee means you have understood Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we have understood, we have to render service to Krishna. Right? And then you are a devotee. Right? So you can be called as a devotee. LKG mein admission will get. So then you can be called as a student. Vidyarthi. So he is going to school for the sake of learning the knowledge. So then like that.
This question actually asked many times. When others ask for myself, if I ask myself, I am not getting the answer to this. Actually, mind is different, actually is different. So, because then how did we emulate of Krishna and
That's $1 million question. This can only be answered philosophically. That is, the free will of the living entity is there, and the living entity is a dependent entity. Right? Either the living entity can be under the shelter of the internal potency of the Lord or external potency of the Lord. Right? And all of us will have our own history. What all leelas we did to come here. It is like, sometimes it is mentioned that, after you fall into the ocean, first of all come out of the ocean and then ask the question, who actually pushed me down? Right? So it's a difficult question. Philosophically also it is quite a difficult question. And just for an information, in any philosophy, you take Western philosophy, you take Mayavad philosophy, you take the Vaishnava philosophy, any philosophy you take, it cannot be completely bridged. The whole thing cannot be completely bridged by the logics. Right? So because there is a achintya principle that is there, inconceivable principle that is there. So this inconceivable principle, because of the existence of the Lord, so we, the Vaishnavas, we put that inconceivability in the Lord. So the Lord is completely inconceivable, and he has many different energies, and the living entities, he has given the free will, and they have the choice to do the things according to their will. Right? So from here we can actually deduce that there is a possibility of the living entity coming under the shelter of material nature. How did a particular living entity come into the shelter of material nature? That's a difficult question. It can only be answered philosophically in this way. Right? So Acharyas have also, Prabhupada also has explained it in many different angles in his purports, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that in his book Jaiva Dharma, exclusively about this particular thing. So, but those philosophical answers are also quite confusing. Right?
So regarding this free will, so God knows our past, present, and future. So what is the state of the
He knows, just like because of his all cognizant nature, he knows what we will do with it. If somebody asks, in a room, we keep these toys, and we let your son inside this room, what will he do? You will be able to predict, right? Like that, Krishna is a big father. He can predict so much. He can predict down in the many lifetimes what this living entity will do.
And one lecture I have learned that so that actually the mind is like a child, and it is the false ego that is influencing the mind. So the false ego which has to be.
See, when we talk about the subtle body, sometimes we group them in one, and sometimes we talk about them individually. And whenever we see, this point also I was speaking, so we have to find fault in ourselves. So by find fault in ourselves means we should understand it is in the mind, intelligence, and falsity. Right? So that's where we have to find fault. Right? So even in Bhagavad Gita also this usage you will find Atma, when this word is there, sometimes it refers to the person with soul, soul and the body, and sometimes the Atma refers to the mind, sometimes the Atma refers to the intelligence, sometimes the Atma refers to soul itself, right? So, and sometimes the Atma refers to the super soul, the supreme Lord, right? So in that way, this is a pointer, like me, it's a pointer. So that pointer can point to any of these personalities, any of the entities which is there. So according to the context, we should take this one. So when we talk about the mind is the problem, so it's a package that we are talking about. I think we can take questions a little later. The session only will not get completed. Already, this whole prayer is difficult to complete, so we will cover a little bit portion of them, and then we will see. In another 15 minutes, I have to finish this one. So we will not go to the purports. So we will just see the shlokas itself, all the shlokas, and then we will try to deduce some nice lessons from here. So the first important lesson that we saw is that working upon oneself and the sadhana, how to apply the sadhana. The sadhana that we are trying to do is trying to see the goal, and if I want to become a better devotee, so what is the next step that I can take? And determining some particular level, and then trying to achieve that particular level. and trying to pray towards Krishna for that. So if we keep a very, very lofty goal, what will happen? Rather than advancing, we will become depressed. You know? So we should not keep very lofty goal. So we should have the desire to attain Krishna Prem. So but then we should have a goal to work on, immediate goal to work on, something to work on. And that's why the Acharyas also have given the steps like Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. At each step, there is a pre-qualification is there and there is a graduation that is there. So we can actually understand and work according to that. What is the first, this one? Like what is the qualification to enter into Shraddha? Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. No. That is required to go there, but what is the state of being in the Shraddha platform? So, Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Unflinching faith.
Unflinching faith in the scriptures. No? So, this is very, very important aspect. So, when we have this, we can Shraddha Shabde, Vishwasa Kare, Shuddrida Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita. If I perform Krishna Bhakti, all that needs to be done is done. I don't need to do sinful activities, I don't need to do Karma Kanda, I don't need to do Jnana Kanda, I don't need to do Ashtanga Yoga. I need to do only Bhakti. That is the only activity that I need to do. Right? So for that, Bhakti means what? When the Bhakti comes into picture, when Bhagavan is there and the Bhakta is there. So then the exchange between these two is Bhakti. So understanding Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead and then understanding ourselves as part and parcel of the Lord and when to render service to the Lord, and scriptures are undisputed authority and devotional service is the ultimate occupation to be done. So if this much is there, so he comes into the platform of Shraddha. Right? So then the next step is Sadhu Sangha. So associating with the Vaishnavas. So associating with the Vaishnavas, specifically like this is about associating with the spiritual master. So for this, learning of a lot of etiquettes and all those things are necessary. How to actually serve a Vaishnava, how to actually take association of a Vaishnava. What is the primary way of associating with Vaishnava? Hearing, right? So associating with Vaishnava means to hear from them, right? So this, and then to render service to them, right? So this is the primary way of associating with the devotee. So this etiquette we need to know. Otherwise, sometimes people actually come and I heard that I should take Vaishnava association. So then we'll go around and come to a car mein ghum ke aayenge. And sometimes this has gone to very heights. In one place, Gurukul boys, they actually bunked this one Gurukul and they went somewhere. And then it was found that they went to a film. So then the teacher asked why did you bunk this one and why did you go to film? So film is not supposed to be seen, right? So then the student answered, Prabhuji, I went to the association of devotees. So that is not association of devotees. Association of devotees means to hear Krishna Katha, right? And to render service to the other Vaishnava, right? How to make him pleased, right? So it's not that other Vaishnava wants to see film, so I just serve him by taking him to a theater, So that should not be the system, right? So Vaishnava Seva. So when it comes, then that time we should know how these two entities interaction is necessary, right? So we know when we go to, if we are working in some organization, so how to deal with manager and how to deal with the peers and how to deal with different people. So that's basic etiquette in orientation that is taught, or even our own normal life, we have seen and learned a lot of things. The same way, here devotees, we don't have an experience of working with devotees in the past many lifetimes. So we learn from the scriptures. So how to actually work with devotees, to hear from them and then to render service to them. Right? So I am who I am. I am a servant of the Lord, and Lord is not different from his devotees, the spiritual master and his Dham and the holy name and entities like that. And I am a servant of the Lord. So what is my role? My role is to serve, right? So when that is established properly, so then Sadhu Sangha becomes properly established, right? So when we do this thing nicely, so then we go to Anartha Nivritti. So till the time this is not established properly, so we will not be able, we will not know how to deal with devotees. So then rather than Anartha Nivritti happening, Anartha Pravritti happens. So anarthas keep increasing, you know. So like that is a very important thing. If we do the step nicely, we'll go to the next standard. You know, just like if we perform well in LKG, we'll go to UKG. If we perform well there, we'll go to first standard. Same thing here also. We need to know the level nicely, and we need to perform what needs to be performed in that particular level. So then we will get graduation. We'll go to the next level, right? So bhakti is a science. If we do that nicely, then we'll go to the next level, and we'll get higher and higher revelations into this one. So now working on the sadhana, it's a big project. First of all, like understanding that it is a big project. So even if we think it is a small project, then we will see like outside all these people are there. They are a big project. We have to work on them. This like we will see later. So we should understand this is a big project. So then we will work maximum time on this. So a sincere devotee who is working on himself that itself will become a nice preaching. When somebody sees this devotee, he's always seeing, he's always thinking that, oh, I have this thing to improve, that thing to improve, and things like that. And other person will come, even if he wants to boast himself, he'll come and say, like, ye itna improve karne ke liye bol raha hai, like, no, I am the even more bothered. I should improve much more. So that itself becomes a solid preaching, actually, So to be very self-analytic and self-improving. So that itself becomes a very, very solid preaching. Right? So now next shloka, we will see the shloka and translation. So this set of shloka is very nice to memorize and repeat. So we'll try to chant the shloka, repeat after me. Swastastu vishwasya kala prasidatham.
Swastastu vishwasya kala prasidatham.
Dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitodiya.
Dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitodiya.
Manasya bhadram vajata dadokshaje.
Manasya bhadram vajata dadokshaje.
Aveshatam no matirapyahaitu ki.
Aveshatam no matirapyahaitu ki.
So swasti means what? Swasti Vachan, they tell, na? Auspiciousness, invocation of auspiciousness. So that's what Swasti Vachan they'll do before Abhishekam and things like that and all. Right? So Swasti Astu. Astu means let there be. Let there be auspiciousness. Kala Prasidatam. Kala means like a person who's envious person. So like there is a famous shloka of Chanakya Pandit. Regarding this kala? What is that? Sarpa Krura, Kala Krura. No, Krura means what? Cruel. Akrura means? Very kind. So that's a big debate to this one, that name is. So gopis were accusing he's not Akrura, he's Krura. So anyways, so like Sarpa Krura, Kala Krura. This one snake is very, very cruel, and it just bites anyone and everyone. Even if somebody doesn't harm, also it just simply as a what is that? Nature, it just comes and bites. And Kala, envious person, he also likes to put other people into distress and see them in the distress. Right? Sarpa Krura, Kala Krura. Sarpa Krura Tara. Krura Tara means like superlative degree. Sarpat Krura Tara Kala. The envious person is more cruel than the snake. Why it is said so? Mantra Aushadhi Vasha Sarpa. So, but with mantra and Aushadhi, medicine, like we can actually bring down the effects of the snake. We can actually subdue the snake, or we can even bring down the bite of a snake, right? So, effect of the bite of a snake. But then, Kalak Kena Nivaryate. What can you do with the envious person? You cannot do anything with him. Right? So that's why he is like Krura Tara. He is very, very cruel. Right? So now Swastyastu, like let there be auspiciousness. And how will auspiciousness come? Kala Prasidatam. Let the envious people be happy at heart. This is like when they will be happy, the envious people, when they will be happy at heart. When they see somebody else in distress, why Prahlad Maharaj is praying like this? Let them be happy at heart.
By giving bhakti or
so the thing that is to be deduced from here is even by putting other person in distress, he may look like being happy, but he can never become happy with it. No, an envious person will always be burning himself. No, he will never become happy. So he can only get the illusion of happiness for some time, but actually inside the whole thing is burning. Right? So now Prahlad Maharaj is not seeing the external happiness of the envious person. He is seeing when will he get the happiness that I am relishing. No, like Prahlad Maharaj is actually thinking like that. And Dhyayantu Bhutani Shivam Mitodiya. When they will become when they will think about Dhyayantu means think about, Bhutani is all the living entities, Shivam means auspiciousness, Mitodiya. So when they will think about each other's welfare, and then Manascha Bhadram Vajata Dadokshaje. So like when they will take up to this very, very auspicious activity, Bhadram means like very auspicious activity of Vajata Adokshaje, when they will actually take up to the devotional service to Krishna, right? So Aveshata like when they will become absorbed in the thoughts of the Supreme Lord. So you can see that Prahlad Maharaj is actually experiencing all these things, and that's how he's actually wishing, he's actually able to wish these things for others, right? So he is thinking about the welfare of all living entities, and what is the means of attaining this welfare? So what is the ultimate welfare of all the living entities? Coming in touch with Krishna, right? So they have lost their connection with Krishna, and that's the all inauspiciousness in their life is that they are detached from Krishna, and the only auspiciousness is bringing the soul back in contact with Krishna, right? So, and this feeling can only be experienced by a person who is actually personally able to establish connection with Krishna. Otherwise it is not possible. So the greatest welfare activity that we are doing for people in general is our chanting. The greatest welfare activity that we are doing for people in general is our hearing of Krishna Katha, is our study of scriptures, and is our like sadhana that we are doing. That's the greatest welfare activity, right? So because if we become Krishna conscious, if even one person becomes Krishna conscious, so then because of him, so many people will become affected by that. So many people will get that this one. So one time one devotee was traveling in the car, and he was a Christian driver, and like this devotee was he was nicely chanting, and devotees have a different kala only in their face and in their this one, So you all can experience that, like when somebody comes new, how they appear and how they like the kind of vibes that we get from them, and when they become a devotee, the kind of vibes that we get from them is like different actually. Right, so this Christian was like he's not a believer of these things and all, but then he was having like just by seeing you, my hands are standing in this one, like something is there, like that. So it is we can see that just by seeing a devotee, even a common person can actually experience this. So this is the way like even one person becomes a devotee, and he sincerely practices Krishna consciousness, sincerely wants to progress towards Krishna, and sincerely able to see the faults in himself, and then he wants to go closer to Krishna. So then that makes a very, very powerful impact. We saw like Srila Prabhupada, very solid devotee, and what kind of an impact he made, the whole this one. It's about how much deep we are in Krishna consciousness, that much, how much the depth is there, that much breadth we can distribute. Right? So if the depth is shallow, then the breadth also will be the radius will be small. So we should increase the depth of Krishna consciousness in ourselves. And these words are very, very nice. Aveshyatam. Avesh means like what? Is haunted. Something like that. When these people will become haunted with Krishna consciousness, something like that. Very absorbed, deeply absorbed. Right? And another important aspect that we can see is like auspiciousness for a devotee is very, very clear. Auspiciousness means what? Krishna is auspicious, this one. Krishna being present is auspicious, Krishna absent means inauspiciousness. Right? So that's very nicely it is there. And he is wishing and praying for even the people who are like envious. And maybe he might have like envious people, when they come and attack us, then we will get to know. Sitting far away, like we can pray for anybody. So when we actually see an envious person in front of us, then we pray for him. It's a big deal. And Prahlad Maharaj fits in that category.
Yes.
Yeah, like Hiranyakashipu was so envious, and he wanted to kill his own son. no, he didn't want any other supreme personality of Godhead being there. Even he can my son is just speaking something. No, he's just a small boy. What value is there for his speaking? He could have just left. No, small boy, he is speaking that he is not telling that I will become supreme personality of God and I will become equal power to you. There is some supreme Lord is there somewhere. No, he's just telling that point. He's not able to tolerate. Even a supreme Lord remotely existing, he cannot tolerate. That's the envy, that's the level of envy that he had actually. And Prahlad Maharaj was constantly praying. And even if so much of this one was inflicted upon him, so much of atrocities were inflicted upon him, he was still praying. And such devotees will be able to make a big impact in the society, a big impact in the preaching, right? So this is what is actually needed. So this is a sign of advancement. This is not an artificial thing that we can practice. It's a sign of advancement that wishing well for others, and this amanina manadena. So like not expecting respect for oneself and then giving respect for others. Not like finding good in oneself and finding good in others. And finding fault in oneself and not finding fault in others. So these are all signs of a devotee's advancement. So when we see these things, we should become happy. Here is a person who is advancing. When we don't see these things, then what we should do? No, not in ourselves, others. When we don't see these signs, so then what we should think? The fallen devotee. So he is not made any advancement. Yeah. So actually speaking, like Krishna has done a very wonderful this one. Like we may be struggling in one area, other person may be struggling in another area, right? So in that area we may be strong, right? So now the choice is to see I am strong in this area, he is weak, and another choice is like maybe he is weak in that area which I am strong, but then he is strong in some other area which I am weak, right? So definitely that will be there because Krishna has made, he has not given all good qualities in one place. He has distributed, scattered everywhere. So, and why Krishna has not given all good qualities in one place? If he gives in one place, that means he is a very advanced devotee. He will give. When we advance in Krishna consciousness, he will put all good qualities in one place. Right? So otherwise, it will all be scattered. So, but everybody will have something. Something to appreciate. So Prahlad Maharaj is such an expert, he could able to appreciate something in his father's this one. So and he was praying for him and things like that. What is the ultimate thing if you are not able to find any good quality in a devotee? What is the ultimate solution to find some good quality in him? No. How will you find a good quality which is existing in him? They're chanting. So okay, devotee, and here Prahlad Maharaj, how he happened to see something good in Hiranyakashipu? What good anybody can find in Hiranyakashipu? You're always remembering Lord, okay? That's a very powerful point. Krishna is residing in their heart. Why Krishna is residing? Why did Krishna not renounce this living entity and go away? So even though he may be bad, even though he may be very, very atrocious, he is very dear to Krishna. And Krishna doesn't want to give him up. Krishna is still staying as Paramatma in his heart. Krishna is still has not given up hope on him. So how can I, this is one good quality. He is a dear entity of Krishna. Krishna likes that living entity. The proof is that Krishna stays in his heart. Right? So this good quality we can find in every single living entity. So because of that we should appreciate. So this person is dear to Krishna. That's the great quality that we can actually find in every living entity. Okay, so let's read the translation. May there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing Bhakti Yoga, for by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Shri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. Very, very powerful. So now, we will just read the translations of the next shlokas, and The next shloka is Magara Dana Prachavitta Bambushu Sango Vedishyat Bhagavat Prayeshuna Yat Pranavritya Paritushta Atmavan Siddhanta Duran Na Tatendriya Priya. So, like, this is Ma means not, Agara means house, no Magara. Dara means one's wife, Atmaja is one's children, Atmaja, people who are born out of them, and Vitta is the money that one has earned, and Bandhu is the relatives. And like Ma means not. So let me develop detachment from home, wife, children, money and relatives. And Sangho Edishya, even if I want to have any Sangha Edishya, Bhagavat Prayeshuna. So let me have the association of the Bhagavat Priya, the devotees of the Lord. And here Pranavritya, Paritushta Atmavan. Pranavritya means like, let me be satisfied with the meager, earning, let me be satisfied with the meager earning. And Siddhanti Aduran, Tatendriya Priya. For such a person, Siddhi or the perfection in Krishna consciousness is Aduran. It's very, very quick. Very soon he will attain. And like not a person who's Indriya Priya, one who is attached to his senses, he will not be able to attain the perfection very quickly. So now all of you are safe because all of your partners and children, everybody are devotees. So, and your money is very nicely engaged in Krishna service. So, like, if it was a Brahmachari class, I would have spoken in different language. So, my dear Lord, we pray that we may never feel attraction for the prison of family life consisting of home, wife, children, friends, bank balance, relatives, and so on. If we do have some attachment, let it be for devotees, whose only dear friend is Krishna. The person who is actually self-realized and who has controlled his mind is perfectly satisfied with the bare necessities of life. He does not try to gratify his senses. Such a person quickly advances in Krishna consciousness, whereas others who are too attached to material things find advancement very difficult. So we should see that. So here, association means what? Like not that giving up, external giving up association is one aspect. Another aspect is like internal giving up association is that we don't appreciate the points of a materialist, right? So we appreciate the points of a devotee, like serving Krishna and things like that. And if we happen to be, in a family situation where like non-devotees are there around, so then we just acknowledge that this one, so that is there in the like what to do, like that Narad Muni tells in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So like when non-devotees are there in the family and they tell some point, we should tell, oh, very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice point. So we will follow sometime, and we should not follow. So Narad Muni is explicitly saying that. So maybe towards the end we can display that shloka. So no, we should not become hostile to them. Cutting off association means cutting off association in terms of like we don't take the points that sense gratification is greatest. Krishna is not supreme personality of God. Those points when it comes, we should not take it in. We should just like hear and leave it, right? So that is the primary this one of association that is mentioned. So that's why we defined association in the previous this one, right? Association means hearing. So hearing in confidence and hearing as a sadhana should be done amongst the devotees, not amongst the this one like not amongst the non-devotees. So that is this one giving up association. So at least for the devotees who are in the family and practically there, within the family situation. So this is the practical thing that can be followed, right? So we should hear devotees and we should try to see that wherever the principles against Krishna consciousness comes, so we should not appreciate it deep from the heart. We can appreciate it superficially, but we cannot appreciate deep from the heart. And then the next shloka is Yat Sankalabdam Nija Virya Vaibhavam Kirtam Muhutsam Spashatam Himanasam Harakta Shrutupe Gataundajam Kovaina Seveta Mukunda Vikramam. So this is by associating with persons for whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead Mukunda is all in all, one can hear of his powerful activities and soon come to understand them, right? So this is the thing that we do in association. We do Krishna Katha, we discuss Krishna's service and we discussed practical aspects of how to enhance the service of Krishna, right? So these are all the things that we do when we come together actually. So the activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. So this is association. Association of Lord means what? Primary association is by the way of hearing, right? So Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. So the first aspect of associating with the Lord is hearing. So that's why Prabhupada used to say like, somebody says like, can you show me God? So sometimes Prabhupada used to say like, why are you giving so much importance to eyes? You have 5 knowledge acquiring senses. So, and the ear is the most important knowledge acquiring senses, amongst them. So which can give the perfect knowledge. Eyes can never give the perfect knowledge. Right? So we should not put so much emphasis on seeing the Lord. Association nor getting the darshan of the Lord means not seeing the Lord, it is hearing the Lord, right? So that's the most important way of associating with the Lord. And here it's very nice, this very, very powerful line. The activities of Mukunda are so potent that simply by hearing of them, one immediately associates with the Lord. It's a very powerful point. So one immediately associates with the Lord. So for a person who constantly and very eagerly hears the narrations of God's powerful activities, the absolute truth, the personality of God in the form of sound vibration enters within his heart and cleanses it of all contamination. That's looking like a Bhakti Vaibhava syllabus. Second chapter Bhagavad Gita, it's like that Srimata Amswata Krishna. So the same thing. You will see in the Bhagavatam these things repeated. Because this is the essence of Bhagavatam. This is the science of devotional service. Wherever there is output comes, the same process will be applied. Right from second chapter of Bhagavatam, what is applied, even in Bhagavad Gita, what is applied, the same principle will be applied. It is only the situation changes. Like when we apply this, this person had very good opportunity, for him the result will come. Next, the Gajendra bus time, the situation was not good. It applied for him also. But still, like, usko samskar tha, like that we see in Bhagavatam, if you cover, all possible permutations and combinations are covered. In any situation, you can perform devotional service. So this principle works everywhere. That justification is given throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and on the other hand, this cleanses all the contamination. On the other hand, all the bathing in the Ganges diminishes bodily contamination and infections. This process and the process of visiting the holy places can cleanse the heart only after a long time. Therefore, who is the sane man who will not associate with devotees to quickly perfect his life? So we saw that Krishna is not different from Krishna, and the devotees, the spiritual master, the Dham, the holy name, and the Ganges water, all of them are not different from Krishna. But specifically, we want the association of devotees. There is a differentiation that is made. Krishna as a deity, he is not going to help us so much. Krishna in the form of holy places, that's not going to help us so much. Krishna in the form of holy rivers, Ganges water and things like that. They are not going to help us. Very prolong the way, they may help. But devotees, with association with devotees, we will make tremendous advancement. Why? What is the reason? Yeah, because he is a devotee, he is trying to practice devotion to Krishna, right? So he can infuse the same thing in us. Like if we associate with the drunkard, we will become drunkard. If we associate with the devotee, we will become devotee. If we associate with the Lord, how will we become Lord? How will we become devotee? It is difficult. The Lord doesn't have devotion to himself. If we associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's a different thing. He has devotion to Krishna. So, but then the secret is this: a devotee has devotion to Krishna, and I want to develop devotion to Krishna. It matches. It has some, we have something in common, right? So he can teach us. So that is why even somebody comes in front of the Lord, what the Lord does, he posts the devotee under another devotee, right? So Dhruva Maharaj was trying to go towards the Lord. Lord could have told him, he is wanting to come towards me. The Lord says, no, it is not going to work out. I have to send Narad Muni. He will train him and then he will come. Right? So the cultivation of devotional service happens in this way only. Right? So that's why it is very, very important. And as preachers, we can mess up somebody's devotional life, or we can bang somebody's devotional life, right? So we should be very careful, So though we may have devotion, we should not mess up other people's life, So we should inspire people to come closer to Krishna. Okay. So then the next shloka is a very, very famous shloka. We will just conclude with that. Yashyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarve gunaistatra samasate suraha Harabhaktasya Mahatmuna Manodate Nasti Dhamado. So, this sloka, mostly all of you, whether even if you have not memorized, you know, diligently, you would have got it by heart by now, because Prabhupada repeats it in many times in his classes, and then he repeats many times in the purports also. Right? So those who are regularly reading and hearing can be understood in this way. So Prabhupada's often quoted slokas naturally comes in his mouth, means he is regularly reading and hearing. Otherwise, he is not doing his sadhana properly. You know? So this is very nice sloka. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities, even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or honest endeavors of maintaining his family and relatives. He must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in service of Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Okay. So this is a debatable subject. So we will take up, if there is any question in this, we will take up in some other time. So we will try to take question answers for next 10 minutes in the previous subjects that we discussed. Any questions? Yes.
So the one quality is not quality mainly or so practice instead of thinking
So one time, Bhakti Ananta Krishna Maharaj had come to our temple. That time, any of you got an opportunity, the older devotees? The devotees from Russia had come, no? So Bhakti Ananta Krishna Maharaj. So he was, so some similar question was put to him. This was in context with, one devotee told, I'm not able to see any good quality in my wife. And we have a lot of problems, and she is also not able to see any good quality in me, and we have a lot of problems. So then Maharaj told what they do there in Germany. So he was mentioning that, there is a notebook, that is there. So for such counselings, they do. So notebook that is there, and the husband, every family member has to write at least 2-3 good qualities every day in the notebook. So they can keep it personally. It's not public or something like that. But this is a sadhana that is given. So note down and write a pen down the description. So and then read through them also. So like that. So and it is I have not tried it. So Maharaj told, I'm just repeating. So and he told that he was telling that the divorce rate in Germany is almost 90%, it seems. So even amongst devotees also. So it is quite quite a difficult situation. 90%, very big percent equal, 70-80% or something like that. So there, they have a different preaching trouble only. Their whole this one is how to keep the family together. That is their preaching. they have to teach from the basics. You should at least find some good in your husband. You should at least serve, at least prasad cook karke dena chahiye.
Attachment is taught.
Yeah, attachment is taught. So, because see, when we develop that attachment, then the maturity of that attachment, detachment will come. Then it will be proper. So a person is already so much detached for some other reason. You ask him to detach, very nicely he is detached. So this is what I was looking for. I'll go and make such a fight. Gun shot ke nikal jaunga. Right? So, first of all, the Varnashram principles have to be followed, So then on the maturity of following, we will get that detachment. So this is very important.
You said, without tasting the nectar, you do not able to distribute the nectar to you. That is the case. If one who is not able to taste his anarthas, his whole life is completely gone, understanding and cleansing of all these things. So without cleansing those, people are trying to teach them how much it is justified to be as a teacher.
For oneself you are asking, for others?
So oneself is not cleansing. In that case, we are not seeing the taste of the nectar. In that case, how we can able to distribute the nectar?
Okay, so what is the meaning of cleansing?
Cleansing is anartha, so we purify ourselves, as you said. One we have to say every day, we need to ourselves step by step, right?
So it is doable thing. So it is like why such discussions we have is that even for ourselves also, we are speaking about this subject. No, this helps a lot because whenever I speak about this subject, my self-introspection starts. Or whenever I hear about this subject from somebody, the self-introspection starts. So this in devotee association, we should have discussions like this. We should introspect about ourselves and how my introspection about myself happened today, right? So we can discuss with the peers. We should not tell what all anarthas you have in the heart. You should not tell to your juniors. They will get overwhelmed and bhakti chhod ke chale jayenge. So you should discuss amongst your peers. So this is how I'm trying to work upon myself. This is how I'm trying to find some fault in myself. In this fault I found and I'm trying to work upon it. And there should not be any false humility or false pride in this. False humility means like trying to practical, we should be practical objective in these aspects. So when false humility or false pride comes, the whole game is lost actually. You will not be able to make any fruitful discussions. It should be very truthful, very objective discussions happens amongst devotees. So this is how I'm struggling and this particular aspect I'm trying to improve. And then amongst friends, we can also offer suggestions. Like this, I face this particular situation in this way. Or I'm also struggling in this way, maybe your solution I'll also apply. So this personal working on personal self is something that we need to reiterate and we have to create a culture of like that. And the culture will happen when each individual is trying to do that. Individually and also collectively. So whenever we hear a class, it is meant for myself, not for others. Right? So whenever I try to practice something, it is meant for me and not for others. So this point we have to keep on, putting to ourselves, right? And the cleansing will happen. And this point, when this thing becomes solid, so we have the goal of chanting nicely, at least the minimum goal of hearing all the syllables that we are chanting, right? And then developing some taste in Srimad Bhagavatam, some kind of, it's not that taste that I'm finding it inseparable, I'm inseparable from Bhagavatam. At least if I'm reading, I'm not feeling fatigue in reading, right? So at least this much of this one, whatever I'm reading, it makes sense to me. I'm able to connect with that. So if I'm not able to do this much, so that means something is wrong in my system. So this is where our seniors are there. This is the purpose for which our seniors are there. For this reason, we should go to our seniors, right? So we should see that this particular thing, I'm not able to chant properly. I'm not able to read properly. So I want to develop more this one. And then the analysis can be made, where I'm going wrong, the different aspects. So we have to indulge in the Navavida Bhakti, so Shravanam Kirtanam. So this is what will give us attachment to Krishna. And then, when we are doing this thing, we should also be very careful about the etiquettes and offenses. So because when we are trying to develop attachment to Krishna, all other part and parcels of Krishna, how we are dealing with them. So if we are not dealing with them properly, then Krishna will not be happy to reveal himself. So we may do Shravan Kirtan, but he will not reveal himself to us. So we should avoid offenses and we should develop nice etiquette. So then Krishna will be inspired to reveal himself. And then the other aspect is prayer. Just by doing Shravanam Kirtanam, I cannot force the Lord to come and appear in my heart. So I should pray and petition to him. Right? So when I petition to him, the Lord becomes favorable. So he actually comes because Lord has a bad experience with us. So we have told him don't come. So and now we have to invite him Lord, please come. Previously I had I was not very happy you coming closer to me. Now I want you. And Lord has so much of apprehensions, So we have to clear all those things by fervent prayers, right? So then when the Lord gives us some kind of a taste in the process of chanting and hearing, we should express gratitude. Right? So this is the kind of the science of devotional service. This we will find in Bhagavatam, this we will find in the like Bhakti Lata Beach ka, this one, and so many different aspects we have actually taken. This we are going to present it as a seminar also, like all these aspects, one, like day we will discuss about. What is the importance of indulging in Navavida Bhakti? What is the importance of following etiquette, avoiding the offenses? What is the importance of prayer? What is the importance of expressing gratitude? So all these things are a science actually. When we do all these things properly, then the revelation of the Lord must happen. And the struggle will always be there. Though we know the science, we will always have the struggle. We will always need some pull from the top. We will always need the help of the Lord. It's going to be a struggling path. Even after knowing the science of navigating the path. If you don't even know the science of navigating the path, it is not just struggle, there is no movement also. That is even more pathetic, At least this struggle is there, some movement is there, So like that, we need to know the process nicely.
In terms of praising the partner, if they do something, not through from the heart, right? So, this will be giving back way sometimes. But pretending what we are doing, they can understand.
No, we should not pretend.
This is not through the heart, right?
No, that is appreciating some points where Krishna not Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vedas are some sentiment. Those things we should not appreciate deep from the heart. Devotional service is all some sentimental thing. So those things we should not appreciate deep from the heart. But they have some good quality. It is a sign that manifestation of Krishna is there. If somebody is like little compassionate towards something, somebody wants to feed some birds or something like that. So even that compassion towards some other living entity, it's not devotional service, but this compassion is a sign of manifestation of the Supreme Lord. Some faint manifestation of the Supreme Lord is there. So that qualities we should appreciate. So something will be there. Yes, ma'am.
How do we understand invite Lord to the heart? Doesn't mean asking to reveal himself. Lord is already there.
Yeah. So revelation of the Lord. So revelation of the Lord progresses in the Nama Rupa Guna Leela. So the first revelation of the Lord that we are all seeking for and ordered by the spiritual master is attentive chanting. Right? So when we are able to chant and hear the names of the Lord clearly, so that means it's a very nice revelation of the Lord. Any other questions?
Small experience I just found in myself. Experience is
518.
So it begins with I, and in between the purport it becomes V. So, constantly discussing about the point. So, I'm also trying.
D means even Prabhupada also sometimes when he is addressing himself, he writes the vocabulary of V. Yeah. Addressing oneself.
And it began with I. So, my specific was is this also a tendency to find all because this is a past. Yes, we actually. There's no way. My all finding things are so deep-rooted that.
No, V is also used for denoting oneself. Yeah. So that's a different way of denoting oneself. I don't, why Prabhupada uses this one V? It's out of humility. Out of humility.
Yeah, pointing to oneself. That's what one feels.
So it's also a humble way of presenting oneself, not addressing a group of people. So all of us have this faults, not like that. We also can mean to oneself. And specifically here, we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this world. Yeah. So it's addressing oneself.
And Srila Prabhupada, when he is trying to recognize himself with others, it will be inspiration for others to follow.
When we are very cautious before we start the hard we can control it. But when we are already into this, realizing.
Then external help only can help. We cannot help ourselves. So we can help ourselves only by preparation, and Jayata Vishayan Purusha Shloka is there. No? So before we contemplate and enter inside, so we can do some correction. So once we enter inside, we don't have any control. So in Gita course also you might have covered this example, right? So like jumping off the cliff, so you have choice only while jumping. After that, in the altitude 1, altitude 2, altitude 3, you don't have any choice to reverse. And only way you can be rescued is by the association. So that is where, like, it is the wealth of a devotee is how much devotee association we have and how much freedom we have given to them to correct us. That is the wealth of us, wealth of a devotee. So if we have association of devotees, but everybody fear to tell something to us, then we are gone. When we are into something, nobody will come to help us. So everybody will maintain a safe distance. How much we have allowed ourselves to be corrected by others. So that makes a lot of this one. So that's the protection. That's the only protection we have. Like when most of the time it is we are into the problem. When we are into the problem, like if only senior has to come and help, God knows when he will understand that you are in trouble, when he will come and help. So we need to have a lot of peer association, a lot of equal association, and who has the right to look into our life and who has the right to correct us and things like that. So that's where is our security and protection and things like that. So we'll pause here for
too much attachment to material things, attachment will be very difficult. So when we see a mother, we have the family, children, things, millions of that. And we see children attached to that thing. So in order to engage them, we have to engage ourselves with the material things. It is unavoidable. Most of our time we are very engaged with the material things. So then it's very difficult for mothers to get their husband in their problems.
So like whenever there is more problems are there, so two ways we can actually react to the problems. So one is that we surrender to the problem, another is we intensify our prayers and keeping faith in the Lord's capacity to reverse the situations. So and this is a very practical challenge, like especially the mothers. So their responsibility, both the parents including, so their responsibility is to take care of the children is a very, very important responsibility. In fact, some places Srila Prabhupada says, taking care of children is as good as deity worship. It's more important like that. So because we are preparing the next generation, and what actually the children will remember and they will take forward is the all that education that we are giving, it may or may not stay in their head. So how did people interacted with me? How did people actually dealt with me? That is the thing that is going to remain for him in the later stages of life. And so what samskaras he is going through, that's a very important this one. So I've seen sometimes the practical challenge of gadgets, like the children go to the school, college, and they see that other children are having all these things and they also pick up those things. So now, as responsible parents, like what we should try to do is educate them on what all is right and wrong objectively, not particularly pointing to that particular wrong thing he is doing, right? So if anything is pointed down, a wrong samskara is going in. He will grow up and wherever he sees fault, he will think that it is my duty to point. So that becomes this one, like that should not be done. So we should educate the children very nicely, and we should correct also. Sometimes we should correct also, but the proposition, like the percentage of correction should be minimum, and we should try to educate them in a nice way. Like you see, like what is good, this is good, or that is good. Even if he chooses the bad as good, okay, fine. No, this is what is the choice as good. Okay, fine. Let's try to work towards this direction and give them the choice of decision and giving them a environment of learning and things like that. So this requires a lot of time. In fact, all the time we may have to spend on that, but it's so much worthwhile actually. We'll see gems coming out later on. So this process has to be done. It's a very, very important. Many things are there in this one of raising the children. So that can be a separate topic of discussion also. Like how to make them self-confident. Like too much of correction will make them like this one, like what is it? Inferiority complex can come up, or they may just copy that and they'll become superiority complex also can come up. So how to create a environment of learning, and how to give them the self-respect also, how they develop the self-respect. So modern day kids, like one of the biggest problems is depression, because like they have been so much bullied, both by parents, by the teachers, by everybody. So like they feel that now I'm fit for nothing, and then they get into depression actually. So that also should not be done. Right mix of things has to be applied, and this requires, I agree, this requires a lot of time, and this can be done in Krishna conscious way. Every time we apply a particular principle on the child, we can pray to the Lord, I'm doing this as a service to you. My offering is this child becomes a nice devotee, decorated with nice Vaishnava qualities and decorated with nice samskaras. So that's the offering I want to offer to you, my Lord, and you please help me in this particular direction. This is my devotional service. This is my devotional offering. So let me do this with a lot of heart and a lot of involvement in that, right? So like that. So that's a major project actually. Raising children is a major project.
There's one online question. Anonymous. You shared how not to be envious, but what if someone is envious of us to an extent that it affects our bhakti and services?
So yeah, we cannot be Prahlad Maharaj thinking like maybe we go to things like that. So we should see that if it is too difficult association, then we try to maintain a distance. And if it is, we have to see them again and again, then by the help and assistance of the senior devotees, like we clearly make a division of service or division of things, and we don't interact with them. Right? So that's if a particular association is creating a lot of bad kind of feelings. First is with the help of the seniors, we try to bridge that. This one we see good in others. If even after that, if it is not possible at all, so then we should try to stay apart, like in terms of service and things like that. So not to create agitation in this one. And when to do that, that needs be careful. This one about that particular relationship. So some seniors should get involved in relationship.
Won't be applicable if it is in the same family. It will not be applicable in the same family.
So you should approach a senior Grahastha devotee who is expert in handling this. And there also it can be done actually. It can be done. So they live together, but then they have a clear this one. I'll do this much only, this much of expectation, you do this much only, this much of expectation. Let's not cross the boundaries.
As you said, stay away.
Stay away in terms of, stay away not in terms of distance, not in terms of another house taking and things like that. And then you can be there in the same room also and you can stay away. With the goal of coming together again, right? So it is agitating because of the particular combination of modes of nature. That person is not wrong, and you are not wrong, the other person is not wrong. It's the combination of modes of nature and the past experiences amongst them. So that is making the whole thing bitter. So then if we can start appreciating a little good, so then again the coming together can happen.
So last service and appreciation can really work very well to done from the
Yeah. And done from the heart. Truly. Where's the similar? Taught by Brahmachari was But you see, like, we have little more experience because we keep hearing so many stories. Shravanam is the best to share. And sometimes just the devotees come and tell, Prabhuji, please be there in Brahmachari Ashram, don't come this side. And they truly, like, only by the inspiration of the devotees, we are able to stay as Brahmachari. We have quit Brahmachari Ashram now. Thank you.
Thank you for helping us to intensify the internals. I'm sure all of us sitting here. As leaders, there are important qualities which Prabhuji was talking about, focusing on one's own internal finding faults and glorifying the devotee. And so many other points Prabhuji made to these different shlokas. In fact, whatever on the Wednesdays, whatever leadership lessons I was giving you all, everything is given by Prabhuji. He has a very unique way of training. He trains subtly. So, Prabhuji he says that he's introvert, but Prabhuji gives so many classes and all that. But then the way he conveys the message and helps the person is very deep. Just by interaction, the training happens. And whatever we are learning through the Wednesday session or the leadership sessions that we had is all the teachings. And you can see that how wonderfully entire congregation is growing now. And now that will come out, that also you'll see in some time. So it's by Prabhuji's leadership, able leadership, all this is happening. So I would request whenever you have time, interact with Prabhuji, message, and you want to meet him personally. Because we don't have any boundaries as such when it comes to meeting our superiors. So this has to be very clear. So there is no boundary that you have to go through your sector leader, then a circle leader, and then you go to the sector president. We have all the rights to go and directly interact. It's obviously as a matter of etiquette, we inform our superiors as well. So take the opportunity. And once the temple comes up, we don't have probably accessible at that time. So now we have a good amount of time to interact with it.
This is also an important point. Like when we grow as a community, like the strength now construction we are doing, so we see that all of you have seen I-beam, which ties different pillars. That's called I-beam. So like now in this way, like you should have association with your juniors in terms of giving Krishna consciousness, with your peers, like nice friendship, and they can correct you in things like that and all. And with your seniors, like immediate seniors and sector leaders and circle leader and all. So you should have a relationship where you can, they can actually offer corrections and you can learn from them and things like that. And this one also, like when I also interact with somebody, I try to do this particular thing that they get connected to their immediate leader nicely. So in the same way, like when you become, Bhakti Vriksha leader is there, sector leader is there. So now when sector leader is there, so he sees that how this member can be nicely connected to the Bhakti Vriksha leader. How he can be connected to every other devotee in the community in the right way. Right? So then what happens? We will make a solid community which cannot be shaken. But if it is only this connection is with only this person, this connection is only this with this person, so then it becomes a problem. It's a weak link. The whole structure can be anytime broken. So every link in the whole community is very important. And if we weaken any one of the link, ultimately we are actually destroying our own structure. So that's a very, very important principle actually. So we see that like when new people come, like I will enhance your relationship with Kartikeya Prabhu and your sector leader, your Bhakti Vriksha leader. So and like this all of us, consciously we will try to do this thing. So in a goal of having the united community. With any one link becomes weak, we are destroying our whole community. So that can be the rotten apple. That can spread the whole bad, this one everywhere.
So let us thank Prabhuji, Melody chant Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Also, some words of wisdom and blessings from His Grace Saksha Prabhu. Yes, come. We have this opportunity to hear a devotee from Raichur. Maybe one of the Prabhu has come here to bless all of us.
So Shanti Sham Prabhu is a Bangalore product. He is cultivated in Bangalore. His parents are in Bangalore. And he used to come to Jagannath Mandir. He started coming in 2007, 6, 7. So and he was in Motivation Prabhu's first show or Sugati Prabhu's. Prabhu was there. And then we used to catch him, from there to youth programs. And then his joining was very tremendous. Like, he was telling to his father that, you should chant Hare Krishna. And like, he was telling that before the grandmother passes away, we should chant Hare Krishna, otherwise I'll leave home. Right? And when grandmother passed away, he didn't chant. And he came to the temple. So, very solid personality in that way. And his mother is also initiated devotee. And now his family also practicing and nicely, very nice devotee. And he joined in, when we were in Jagannath Mandir, he was getting cultivated. And then when he moved to Narsimha Giridhari Mandir, so that time he joined. So day one of Narsimha Giridhari Mandir, we started off with him. So, from there, from the scratch of Narsimha Giridhari Mandir, the construction of the temple, everything Prabhu worked hard very much here. And then we got 5 acres of land in Raichur. So, we requested Prabhu to take care of, and he has made a nice temple over there. Many devotees are nicely cultivated over there. And so, very good opportunity for us to hear from him. Hare Krishna.
It's not a big introduction. So we maybe the number of years, of course, I've completed more than 10 years now. By Krishna conscious philosophy following which is Krishna stated to me. So when I was in Pustuka, I used to work with Hariksetra that time, in 2005-06. So I used to visit Session-1 temple. I used to see Krishna having joined. And at that time he had some spinal sleepless. So he used to just lying there with the bed backside of the ashram. So it's a very small place. So you to see Session-1 temple at that time. This is small. That's not that it's a small. This was almost in the wash basin area. This is the brahmacharya ashram. That is not bigger than that. It's always to see, and we used to say that there is a guy coming from his joint here. So, my mom is still spread out. Educated and has taken the opportunity to progress in the life. There is one person who is sitting and eating mango, sleeping and eating mango. So, there was an inspiration for me, okay, there is something here. Shows a pride, that's where it started. Look at our friends, as I said, just have to be confident in my home also. Problems are there, it's not as inspired by philosophy or part of it, and I was confident at home. Also inspired and more, pushed me more to out of the house. When I was there in the base of the event, that's a good group of youth boys, so everybody was really higher. Reputation should all go ashram. Nobody job idea. In that year, of course, two of them were the office. Then consequently, after 2 more boys joined the party, 10,000 people. So that's how the journey began. In 2011, I joined Session-1. This was Narsimha Giridhari temple. 2013, I entered action. What was we all discussed about so much philosophy. Out of this telling a small story regarding the faith of the This is from a group of stories, collection of stories by Session-1 Maharaj. So it's a difference. I'm sitting for a long time. So one yogi was also preaching. One of the Puranas mentioned which Purana is that. Two Puranas, one yogi was also preaching. And then there's one sinner, very simple person. He's doing the actions of the person says, Krishna, Rama. They're all the word. share. That's why I said, no, I not say. So please stay down. No, I'm not saying. And you just have to get just walk for him and said, unless you die, I won't leave you. And that simple process starts struggling, getting off, get off me. So I'm listening to chant now, I won't leave you. And very hesitatingly he says, Ram. And he says, very nice. What you uttered is very, very invaluable. If any, at any point of time, never bargain in return for this invaluable thing what you have obtained by chanting the name of Rama. You just do so. And this is the start shouting at him. They were asking, telling I'm getting something valuable and you won't want to trade it. You're not cheaters. You know this goes on. And over a period of time, this simple person, old age, he dies. And with us come, and we just take this simple person to the world. And with us is point how this person has come to this level. I think that's it. Only one thing he did good was, because the devotee forced him, very hesitatingly he said no. That's all. And what I say is, I'll give you a choice. Would you like to first undergo all the troubles for doing sins? Or would you enjoy the good things that happen by chanting the name of God? And that simple was a universe. That devotee I told him is very invaluable. So no trade. So I trade it now. But I also trade it. So I tell Samaraj, what is the value of God? But I don't trade it. So you reduce those things. So only you can be enjoy, that's it. So it's not undergoing runs. Just trade it, discount. Cut down those things. Then one of the things for some time he starts glorifying what Rama is doing. And then he says, this is what I know. But it is still much more valuable. So to know about that, you have to go and meet India. And that second person says, fine, you go there. But I will not come along. You have to carry me. And for some reason they accepted it. And Yamaraj and Chitragupta carry. Yamadutas can't go to Indra. So these two people carrying the color. And then, as the point is just looking at them. And as soon as they come, you see, there's somebody being carried by Indra and Chitragupta and Yamaraj. And starts going, boy, Vaishnav Thakur, Jai, and specifically yourself providing nice unity. And Yamaraj is looking at it, scratching his head. It's a simple person. You first ask, glorify. We just want to know what is the value of the name Rama. And Inga starts glorifying Rama is very once you chant Rama, you get that. So much very good. He says that, especially I know, to go further, you have to go meet Lord Brahma, Venus. Then, so there to go to Brahmaloka. And Brahmaloka, Chitragupta can't come. So Indra and Yamaraj, they carry this Brahmaloka. The Brahma sees, oh, there is somebody being carried in Salaki by Yamaraja and Indra, and Brahma starts glorifying, oh, very nice, that's basically his also. Yamaraj is against catching this thing. But this is a simple person. He came to know the value. Rama knows not to know. And Chitragupta Brahma in his forehead started verifying about Rama's name. Which is what I know. More further, when Shiva was Shiva is a friend, and Yamaraja and Indra carried the simple like they go to Kailash. And Kailash Shiva is sitting, sees somebody is going to Palaki around the bend. Yamaraja and Indra carry the Palaki. He just jumps from the seat. It's a slow sign. grabs that simple person, hugs him, oh, Haribol, welcome to Kailash. And Raja asked like, this is Jesus. That person goes by and said, hugging the person, asked, who is this person? You already heard him also. It's a little man. That's why I know the name of holy name, importance, as a value of it. And Shiva became very excited. His forehead starts very loud. Rama 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 Iti, Rama 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 Rama, Sasana Tattva, Rama 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 Rama. Strange words. This is what I do. But Ramakrishna is not sure about it. In that, we are Bhagavan Vishnu himself. I also want to know. So we are very keen to know the value of Rama. So we will be that. All the Kukshetra exercise started, Shiva Brahma, and they all start chanting the Kuksha Sutta, Shri Sutta. And then there is Vishnu appears, Shri Krishna, very majestic, very huge, very huge. And the very grave was Shiva's Paribhuma. And Shiva says that we all came here to know the value of chanting the Rama's name. And Vishnu is very smilingly and very voice says. So we can just know that. So Brahma and Shiva carry that simple person on their shoulders, come and place it on my lap, then I will tell you also a line. And so then Brahma and Shiva, they carry that simple person on their shoulders, go and place it on Vishnu's name. And Vishnu says, this is the value one gets by chanting the name of Rama once. A simple person is being carried on the shoulders of Lord Shiva and Brahma and is placed in the lap of Lord Vishnu. Never comes back. So, value of the holy name is much powerful. That is simply this, our faith and good faith. We are thinking, okay, we have chanted so many times. We can go back. But now, for this story, the first time it happened. Now there are conditions of that. Now this story doesn't. There are 10 conditions as per yesterday, but then offenses. You should be careful not to commit those offenses. Without offenses, the chant will be with love. We all can go back to God. So Prabhupada says that we have to preach. It's allowed object in Mahaprabhu. Radha Tareka Krishna, Samaraj Guru, Chara Krishna. So it's a very punya, not punya days like the Bhuna, Jumana. And it's an opportunity we want as a human being. And after several human lives, it's an opportunity we want Bharat Varsha. And in that case of several lifetimes, we get opportunity to get connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spirit. So thousands there is actually one time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then there is an opportunity to go back to Krishna just for chanting the spirit of Krishna. This is also the rules and regulations, all the rules. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered all of us. Namadapya Guru Maharaj. All of us, the chant also to preach. Chant beliefs, chant faith. It's not possible. So it's not necessary that it should be sitting in pravachan and preaching. Preaching can happen small way shopkeeper, vegetables, and the friends, this child, this person. That's it. So the preaching starts. And there are two relations with what everybody is intellectual to sit. There is a close one, people I was losing. It's not possible to sit and have some food. It's an excuse. They're leaving there. So we said that a long time ago, so troubles. But still, this strong faith in the universe and strong faith in Guru and Krishna will help us provide Krishna. It's a very joyful moment, joyful endeavor. It's not so complicated and complex. Going to a factory or sitting all day and doing some program. It's not boring, it's not dying. So we're all saying dance. It's enjoyable endeavor. Should all take part in it. And I'm very happy that Happy Guru has dedicated his life to teach. It's nice to see so many things being cultivated. You have to imagine, at those times in your college days, you used to just run around, just to see all these companies or so all these companies. But you never thought that the teachers in the had this between this. So some programs happening during lunch breaks, things like that. So that they gather together and then having a center inside this, so nice to see. So thank Happy Guru for the great inspiration. And we also progress. And because one of you also that be connected with all the guides.
Thanks to the invitation.
So being a guidance, whatever is there, so it's all scope of philosophy, how much we guide. That is it's a family. It's a family. In earlier times, it should be like a joint family, there should be a head. Not on the head of the family says every accepts it, purposes, accommodates whatever problems are there. As to tolerate too small here and there things and focus. So the tolerance is not so easy. So the tolerance only is for newcomers to also the senior says to accept the change of certain things has to change. So if you are ready to accept, then they will guide you. If you are not ready, then it's fine. Everything is nice. So you think always nice, it's nice. Unless we are ready to take these changes, then we will not get the real guidance. We are ready to do that. So thank you for inviting me to this center. Really inspired to see a lot of the this work. So invite me, sometime you can come to Ranchi. Ranchi is around 40 kilometers from here. The lines of Durgapur and Krishna. Nearby there's a pilgrimage, Mantralaya. So 50 kilometers from Ranchi. This comes to Madras of the night. There is the great sannyasis. There is a Bhagavad Swami. This samadhi is there, very powerful. Short trip, so it's one day, one day, Saturday, something. It's good to come between June to December, January to January. So 40 is plan. We have 5 acres of land in Ranchi. We have small Goshala and Sarati Kausada. Small center where daily programs are going on. And a river project construction started. So a 10-floor project. Eco-friendly building. So making bricks in the same template AIC. Aluminum bricks using local lake soil. Gravel soil and limestone, so come enjoy the limestone.
Thank you very much for such a nice, inspiring talk and for that wonderful invitation. Surely come, maybe next leadership meet. Let us thank Prabhuji by chanting Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
we'll do a bit of change in sitting arrangement. We'll put chairs now. And we'll have reports about the papers. Thank you.